welcome to the video. Today we're going to be exploring one of my favorite learning techniques, simplification. It completely changed the way I draw. If you ever watched one of my Twitch streams, you hear me just blabbering on about it for hours. Let's find out why. Now, there's a very good reason I blabber on about simplification for hours. This is because for me, learning simplification was what turned my art from this to this. It's just that useful. There should be no such thing as I can't draw animals, vehicles, or backgrounds in your pieces. Everything can be simplified, making them easy to draw. Now, me saying this is great, but to simplify, you need to learn how. So I'm going to show you free study methods to help you understand and simplify things your own way, as well as showing you some little tips that I learned along the way from watching many tutorials. So let's get straight to lesson 1 with general maths. Okay, so grab a reference or just use mine, and we're going to start off by drawing a circle. This helps us get a general idea of how big the drawing is going to be on the page and helps us line things up. Then we're going to look at the biggest forms in our reference, so in our case at the moment the house, and start blocking down them big shapes. Scribble some circles around the trees, remembering not to worry about the details. Now, trees are great to practice on, so we're going to take this little guy at the front and look at him as if he's a big round orb with loads of little orbs attached to him. This is going to make figuring out shading on really complex shapes much easier. But before we do the shading, let's just add a little bit of detail and then get to this tree. As you can see, we're using our simplified version to see where the shade would be located. But seeing the tree as a 3D object has even more benefits, allowing us to be able to draw it in pretty much any angle we'd like, and even conceptualize it from thin air whenever we need to. Just imagine the easy shapes and you've got it. If you can remember the general form and shape of a tree, you can pretty much conceptualize one. From scratch, no references. And the more of them you study, the better you'll become. And there you have it, our quaint little cottage. Okay, let's see what's next on the learning list. Ooh, form lines. Okay, this is going to be fun. I'm going to show you a little technique that's going to help boost your accuracy. And let's do that with this sick looking Subaru. Once again, we're starting off with a circle, which will help us size up the vehicle. Then we're going to look at the front of the car for an anchor point. Basically something we can anchor our whole drawing to. I think this is the most important step as well, so find something good to really anchor it down. I like to use the natural line that kind of runs from the bonnet to the back of the car. Now we have the general length and height figured out, we're going to look at this anchor line and pretty much pin a point about a quarter of the way down, and this will be perfect for where we can place our wheel and line it up with our window above. So now we've created this little section, we can split it in half again and stick some spotlights there. So we're basically going to keep on adding this data until eventually we have enough detail that it's pretty much done, which is where we're kind of at right now. So let's smash a border on it, and there you go, a Subaru. Okay, that went by quite fast, so let's draw a couple more. I'm a big fan of Gup, and I'm always drawing the girls with their tanks. So let's draw some tanks. Once again, we need an anchor point. Now, this tank's got this really nice bit running through the middle here, so that's perfect. We'll use that. We will add some lines on either side so we can get a general idea of the size. And now we've got that down, we can kind of figure out once again about a third of the vehicle itself. We'll put a line through it, and this lines up the tank tracks. The tracks are pretty symmetrical, so we can draw them both at the same time. And we can actually use the placement of the left track to line up the edge of the turret. Now, throughout this whole process, we're constantly going to be admiring our reference and just looking at things that line up to the anchor point. This helps us visualize where things would be in the 3D space, rather than just copying them. Okay, so now we have the kind of rough sketch of the tank done. We can go wild and have some fun. Let's just stick a border on it, shade it in a little bit. I'm actually going to shade in the rivets. And then we have it. God, every time I watch this anime, I enjoy it more. Like, how is it so good? How is it so good? Sorry, back to the tutorial. Okay, one last tank. Let's make it fast. Now remember, we're not trying to copy the reference. We're just trying to understand it and duplicate it to the right. It's not about copying it so every single piece of the tank is exactly perfect on the other side, as much as try to recreate a 3D structure of the tank to the right. As you can see me draw the vehicle here, I'm not making an exact copy. When I'm looking at the tank, I'm looking at where the turret lies and where like the boxes are on the side and things attached to the vehicle so that I can recreate them on my own drawing. Instead of trying to duplicate the perspective, just do it in your own perspective. Use the reference as a reference, not as a mirror. Instead of trying to line everything up and replicate it exactly, try to understand where it's located upon the 3D vehicle, understanding the general shapes that the vehicle's made of, and then you can rotate it and draw it in any angle you want. Now, this isn't easy and it takes a lot of practice, but the reason I split this video up into 3 parts is so we can do this. You can do this. By looking at forms like we did with the tree and combining it with understanding where things are placed upon the 3D object, you can get some pretty accurate results and get a real good understanding of the 3D forms you're creating by just simplifying them. Anyway, that's enough build up. I know what you guys came for. Let's show you how to use all these techniques to draw anime girls. Let's get straight into it. We're going to get right into things by using Randotuner's simplification method of cylinders, which is what I find works best for me. So we're going to look at our reference and split it into as few simple shapes as possible. And remember, we're not directly copying the reference, just understanding its form. We can use what we learned from the tank drawing and see that the front of the hip lines up with the waist, helping align things. By visualizing these simple shapes as 3D objects like we did with the tree, we're able to understand them and manipulate them however we want. So now we're just going to fill in the gaps, adding muscle details if necessary, but mostly just bordering the shapes. And that's a simple torso. If we chuck it over here, we can repeat the process and eventually create a whole character. And let's splash on a little bit of colour, and there you have it. A drawing utilizing everything we've learned so far. That girl is a real... Now to show you how adaptable this process is, let's say you're not too happy with how she's looking and you want to turn her around and draw from the other side. I mean, I don't blame you. Let's give it a go. It's as easy as taking the original data we gathered, not even using the reference, and just drawing it from a different angle. Once again, we'll sketch over these simple shapes, and it's nice to add a splash of shade at this point just so we can get a simple idea of the form. And that's her torso from the other side. If you practice what we've learned today, you'll train your brain to understand complex structures as simple forms, helping massively to improve your learning potential, as pretty much anything you try to draw can be simplified in this way. So go grab yourself a pencil and get to it. After watching this video, you can do it. Hey, that rhymes. Just remember me when you're big time, okay? Okay, I really hope you guys learned something from this video. Please feel free to trace over my work, do whatever methods you need to learn it best, get it down there, and I really do want to see your work again. I've now got a Discord, so you can jump in there, send your work to me. I've got like a questions section, so if you need any kind of help, I'll try getting back to you as fast as I can. If you want to see me stream on Twitch and draw, go and follow me there. Thank you very much for watching. Have fun with your art journey, okay? Have fun, explore. Thank you for watching the video. Goodbye. Oh, and if you think I deserve to follow, thank you.